الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, I want to say in the last two episodes we are talking about two characters. The first one was Herzl, which is considered to be the founder of the modern Zionism or the modern Zionist movement. And in the previous session, we were talking about Sultan Abdul Hamid II. And actually, we forgot to say that Sultan Abdul Hamid II was to be assassinated twice. One time was in his palace, and the other time was in Switzerland. But these two attempts for assassination failed, alhamdulillah. The third character that we are going to talk about today is a little bit very critical, and all the Arab people have to actually listen to this history with some kind of wisdom and understanding. The third character actually, and he was one of the main people that made Palestine to be a Jewish state, or at least one of the founders of this disaster, is Sharif Hussein ibn Ali. Sharif Hussein ibn Ali, he was the ruler of Al-Hijaz, of the two holy cities, Mecca and Al-Madinah. But that man was not satisfied by that kind of position. And he built that kind of relationship or bridges with the British people in Egypt. They were occupying Egypt at that time, and which is known in the history by the deal or the agreement or the correspondence known as McMahon-Hussein. The correspondence McMahon-Hussein. Hussein refers to Sharif Hussein ibn Ali, the ruler of Al-Hijaz. McMahon, he was the High or the British High Commissioner in Egypt at that time, Henry McMahon. The correspondence between the two persons, McMahon promised Sharif Hussein to have the Arab Empire. He's gonna be the king on the Arab people. He's gonna give him independence on the Arab Peninsula. This is how Sharif Hussein understood it. But in fact, McMahon never gave this promise. He refused to give any promise in written. None of the British people, starting from McMahon and whoever came after that, gave anything, any documented agreement to Sharif Hussein. And they were talking about they were gonna give him a kind of kingdom in West Arabia. But he was talking about the empire of the entire Arab Peninsula, starting from Syria in the north until Yemen and Al-Kuwait, all of these areas. So Sharif Hussein, having that promise, he led what is known in the history as the Arab Revolt against the Ottoman Empire. And we have to understand something very important here actually, because when we read the name is really confusing. When you say the Arab Revolt, we think the entire Arab people were against the Ottoman people. This is not true. They were very limited tribes in the Arab, in what we call now in Saudi Arabia. Very limited, very few number of the tribes who agreed to be against the Ottoman Empire. It is important to mention also that many of the Arab soldiers, the Muslim soldiers in the Ottoman army, refused to take a revolt or make any kind of revolt against the Ottoman Empire. Just when we say the Arab Revolt, we think that was not true. Two people we have to mention here today. They are the two sons of Sharif Hussein, Abdullah and Faisal. Abdullah actually is gonna start the correspondence with the British people to go ahead with some kind of agreement to appoint his dad as a king on condition they are gonna lead the Arab revolt against the Ottoman people. And Faisal, we will need to talk about him actually, because as you know, when they made that deal with Sharif Hussein, they were having another secret agreement in the year 1915. It started 1915. Even before the Arab revolt started in June, which was in June 1916. So what was the secret agreement? It was between the British and the French people. The very common, very known agreement called Sykes-Picot. When two representatives of the two countries came together, Mark Sykes, the British guy, and the other one was Francois Georges Picot, the French person. They came together and they made that kind of dividing the Arab Peninsula among the France and the Britain. So the Britain agreed to take the Iraq. Okay? And France was gonna take Syria, bigger Syria, including Lebanon. Lebanon was a part of Syria in their agreement at that time. So what about Jerusalem, our topic? What about Palestine? Palestine was agreed to be an international place, not with the Britain, not with the France, except Haifa. Except Haifa. Why? Because the British people were actually looking for the oil in Iraq, and that was the port for exporting the oil from Iraq to Europe or to the British people. The port in Haifa. So what happened is, actually, to be fair enough, after what Sharif Hussein did, he didn't know about this secret agreement, but they knew. They knew while they were leading the troops against the Ottoman army. They knew when they actually killed many Muslim people in Mecca to control Mecca. When they were trying to kill many Muslim people in Medina, until they controlled Syria. By whom? Not by themselves. Who was with them? By the help of the British army. They could not even defeat even I'm talking about the Arab people behind Sharif Hussein, his two sons Abdullah and Faisal. They were outnumbering the people or the army of the Ottoman people in Mecca and the Medina, but they could not even defeat them until the British people supported them. With whom? Unfortunately, with the Muslim soldiers from Egypt, and the French sent the Muslim soldiers with the area of Morocco or Algeria exactly. And by the way, Sharif Hussein refused to have any non-Muslim to be with them in that war. He was thinking that I cannot use them, and they didn't like that. But anyway, it ended up by whom? That Thomas Edward Lawrence, and this is very famous. He was a British spy, and which is known or very famous by T.E. Lawrence, or we know him as Lawrence of the Arabia. Yes, this spy guy, he led the troops with Faisal, and they made all of that bloodshedding. Because we don't have enough time, I want to say it ended that Sharif Hussein had nothing, but they kept him ruling Al-Hijaz. They gave him the strip from Khalij al-Aqaba until Yemen. So he started the revolt, he made that chaos, and he ended up by what? By gaining nothing. And he will even continue there until 1925, from 1918 until 1925, until Abdul Aziz ibn Saud is gonna take Al-Hijaz even from him, after controlling Najd, which is now known as Saudi Arabia. But anyway, back to Faisal, very quickly. Faisal was still hoping that he will be the king of Syria and Lebanon. And to come to that, even the Russian people declared the secret Sykes-Picot agreement. Faisal was still insisting, thinking that he will get Syria, even after they said that Balfour was announced, the Balfour Declaration was announced in 1917, as we explained before. But Faisal was still hoping that he will get Syria, to the extent that, I'm sorry to say it, but to the extent he met with the Chaim Weizmann, one of the leaders of the Zionist movement, who went on with a delegation to Cairo to start the preparation for started the Jewish colony in Jerusalem. Faisal met him there, and Chaim Weizmann said in his diaries, he said that this man Faisal is supporting us. And some people, I saw the document, but they can release whatever they can, but they said this document between Faisal and Chaim Weizmann, and of course his right hand was whom? The spy guy, Lawrence, the Arabia, okay, of the Arabia. So they said Faisal agreed that the Jewish people are gonna come to take Jerusalem and settle in Palestine, and he will take Syria in return. And they said this is documented. But what is really documented is Chaim Weizmann sent a letter to his wife when he said to her that this Faisal is very supportive to the Jewish colony in Jerusalem, and I'm quoting what Chaim said. And the Faisal, the son of Sharif Hussein, is actually, he doesn't consider the Palestinian as true Arabs. He said to him, as he reported, that Faisal said the Palestinians are not true Arabs, and he does not like even them. So the agreement was easy to let the Jews go ahead with Jerusalem, and on behalf, or as a reward, he's going to take control on Syria. That's it. And it ended up that Syria was given to the French people, and the story is long, but we may continue inshallah next time.